Hey guys, what's up? This is Ben Golliver for SB Nation. I'm here to talk about the three-team trade that went down, sending Rudy Gay from the Memphis Grizzlies to the Toronto Raptors, Jose Calderon from the Toronto Raptors to the Detroit Pistons, Tayshaun Prince and Austin Daye from the Detroit Pistons to the Memphis Grizzlies, and oh yeah, the Raptors sent Ed Davis down to Memphis. Kind of complicated, but in the end, not really. This came down to a matter of dollars and cents for Memphis. They realized they weren't going to be able to keep their core four players together of Mike Conley, Rudy Gay, Marc Gasol, Zach Randolph. Somebody had to go, and clearly the odd man out was Rudy Gay. Mike Conley, he's pretty affordable in terms of where his contract is at. Marc Gasol is just totally irreplaceable in terms of what he gives you on both ends. And Zach Randolph seems like the heart and soul of this Memphis team. He's the guy that everybody rallies around. He's who they go to if they need a bucket. So those three guys were probably the first three picks if you had to pick three of the four. That leaves Gay, a very athletic, explosive wing player, just not the most efficient guy in the world, hasn't been shooting the ball very well this year. So that's why you go ahead and move him on. In Toronto, they're taking on a huge risk here. They're bringing in his contract with his gigantic, runs a couple more seasons. They're going to try to play him alongside of DeMar DeRozan, a Kyle Lowry, and potentially an Andrea Bargnani if he ever comes back from injury. All those guys want shots. All those guys want the ball. I just don't see how that's going to work. If I had to grade that part of the trade, I look at Memphis. They're probably getting a B+ in terms of what they were able to get back in this deal. A young player in Ed Davis who could potentially plug into their rotation immediately. A nice player in Tayshaun Prince who's going to be able to plug the starting three position. Clearly he's no Rudy Gay, but he's not a horrible downshift, and I think you're going to be okay there. If I look at it from the Raptors' perspective, it's probably a C-. It's a huge risk. I'm not sure Rudy Gay is that guy. They're going to need him to be that guy because they've got so many bad contracts already on the books. It's going to be tricky. Now let's talk about it from Detroit's perspective. I give them a solid A here, and you might think, well, what? They didn't really do that much. Sure they did. They got rid of the future money owed to Tayshaun Prince. It's almost $15 million. That will allow them to speed up their rebuild around Brandon Knight, Greg Monroe, and Andre Drummond, who's looking like a very talented rookie. They're not going to have that money hanging on their books in the future. That's excellent. Of course, all they really did was undo previous mistakes by giving the deal to Tayshaun Prince in the first place. They never should have given him that money, but now they don't owe it to him. Calderon comes in. He's a nice mentor for Brandon Knight in the short term, and then he comes off the books in the summer, so they've got plenty of cap space to work with heading into summer free agency. So to review, I give Detroit an A, Memphis a B+, Toronto you get a C-. The only way it's going to work out for Toronto is if Rudy Gay decides to really take a quantum leap forward in a new role as a number one guy, and he really embraces that challenge. I'm just not sure I see that happening. All right, guys, be sure to check out SB Nation on YouTube and check out sbnation.com/NBA.